Hey guys, welcome back to Season 2 of Almost Better Than Dragons. I'm Matt. I'm going to be the Dungeon Master this time, and I'm joined by Doug.
Hey.
I'm joined by Bren.
Hello.
And I'm joined by AJ.
Hurrah.
Alright, so last time we played D20 Modern, and that was a lot of fun. This time we're going to go a little bit more fantasy style. We're going to play some Dungeons & Dragons 4th Edition. AJ, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about 4th Edition?
It's more of a... it is definitely more traditional, like, fantasy-oriented game. Everything's powers-based. Like, all the characters are... Everyone has their own set of skills. Even, like, melee have powers. They just call it, like, something else. That everyone has, like, a shout or, like...
it's less about your characters and more about what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like... It's not necessarily about... You can be creative, but it's not required. It's not, like... Flavor isn't required because everyone sort of has, like, set skills that they're going to be using, like, all the time.
Oh, so it's like high school.
Oh, God.
You don't have to be creative, but...
There's an actual chance of us encountering dungeons and or dragons, whereas in D20, that was unrealistic.
Yeah, I mean, like, the great thing about D20 is that it actually does have the ability to be, like, have like, a fantasy aspect to it. And I know we did, like, zombies and stuff in the last one. Yeah, I chose to, like, bring it more of, like, a realistic aspect, but then it didn't. I veered directly off that path towards the end. So.
Yeah,
we got a little sci-fi.
Smoking weed, time travel shit.
Yeah, I thought time travel was, like, a good way to sort of bring it into, like, the fiction realm. Besides the fact that
zombies they're everywhere.
It's science fiction. Science fiction.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we should just probably dive right in and get started with the story. What do you guys think?
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So I'm going to start with a little bit of lore. So right now, all of our characters are in a tavern. The tavern is called the Jeremy O'Dubbs Tavern. It's in the village of Haverton. This village is on sort of the central continent of this realm. It's called Ku-Ruk Province. To the north is a continent called the Crag. And to the east is a continent called the Silverstone Province. Today's date marks roughly the 100-year anniversary of the declaration of peace among all three continents. The continents had been at war for many hundreds of years, and it grew to the point where the war was no longer sustainable. All sides were losing. And so a peace treaty was signed, and basically the eastern continent and the central continent came to an agreement of just peace, and then the northern continent isolated itself and established treaties to prevent people from crossing in or out across the border. The central continent is populated by all races and ethnicities, as is the eastern continent. But the northern continent, the Crag, is populated by people who are only referred to as the Crag. Nobody has really seen them. Obviously, it's been 100 years or so since the war took place. And since they've been in complete isolation, they haven't been seen. Nobody's spotted them. Nobody's seen them over the border. It's been complete 100% silence. So nobody really even knows what they look like anymore. They've sort of been forgotten.
Is it almost better than silence?
Not
no,
even.
it's just eerie. It's just,
but how do the people
weird.
forget what they look like? Is there no historians in the world?
I mean, there's historians and things, and there are records, but firsthand, nobody has really seen them.
Okay,
and the people that have seen them are very old or have died, and so it's not something that you would see every day. It's something that you'd sort of hear about in a fairy tale or like a ghost story, sort of.
Got it.
Ghost.
All right, so we're in this tavern. The tavern is two rooms. There's a larger room sort of at the entrance, which has a bar, and it's got a large table. And then there's a smaller room sort of off to the side. It's a little bit quieter, probably a smoking section at one point. There's a few folks hanging around in there, and all three of you are in there. So why don't you guys tell me where you are in the tavern?
Personally, I'm in the smoking room.
You're sitting at a table, just enjoying the evening?
A nice smoke.
Can we pause and let the audience do a collective gasp of the sheer shock and disbelief?
What, that we're all together again?
No, that Doug's
No, that you're in the smoking room.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So, Doug, why don't you describe your character a little bit?
Alright, let's see here. My character is an Eladrin male, size medium, age 78, and for those who are unaware, Eladrin typically live to like 200 years plus, so he's kind of in the prime of his life. He's a fighter class. His name is Laryn Gitis, and he's of chaotic good alignment. And his full name is Laryn Gitis, but his first name is just Laryn, and then his surname is Gitis. And then his deity is Cord, and that pretty much sums it up. He's 6 foot. He's pretty tall, beefy fighter guy. Very, I guess you would want to say, Aragorn in style, in the sense that he's like a vagabond and like in the stuff that he would wear, but not personality. He's more or less like kind of introverted, but also very wise.
Excellent. Bren, why don't you tell us about your character and tell us where he is in this tavern?
I am Ku-Ruk Lademan, but everyone just calls me Ku. I am a barbarian dragonborn. About 26, about 7 feet tall, 335 pounds, like, with all his gear. No real deity. The primal spirits guide me for where I go. I am racially put into the smoking section by the bar, or a tavern owner, believing that all dragonborn breathe fire, thus the smoking section. And I take offense to it, but I continue on with my drink, and I can mind my own business. Very aware of how big I am and how uncomfortable it makes a lot of other people feel, and am aware that sometimes things break around me. It's not always by my choice, but things happen. I am refilling. I have like 5 flasks out in front of me, and I'm just refilling them all with my drinks, because you have to be properly hydrated at all times when you're out in the wild. So I always have at least 5 flasks on me at any given moment.
Are you actually drinking alcohol, or are you drinking like a sugary red substance?
I'm drinking alcohol, but I'm like refilling. Well,
It's like a Cosmo.
It's a Shirley Temple. I abstain from the ether of the devil. No. I got a drink with me, but I'm also having multiple drinks and just refilling.
Virgin Dad.
You're just mixing your own drinks in a bar?
Well, I'm just like putting them in the little flask in case I want to bring them along and, sneak them into a concert. I'm not paying $7 for a goddamn beer. It's a Doobie Brother concert? No.
Yeah, a lute concert.
There's a big drum solo going on over by the bartender. But, yeah, so I'm aware of how big I am, and I don't mind it. I like being big. That's how the Lademan does it.
And AJ, where's your character, and what's he up to?
My character is sitting up at the bar. My character's name is Ventan, and he's a half elf, with black hair, and that has a silver streak in it. And he is about 5'10", 160, so he's slight of frame. But he also has an air of mysteriousness about him. He's got a hood up right now at the bar, and he's sort of just sipping on some hooch, sipping on some
Hooch!
some liqueur. He's also shuffling through a deck of cards that he has in his hand, sort of getting ready to set up the table for solitaire, self-solitaire.
He's a game player?
Yeah.
likes to take bets, likes to do a little gambling.
Likes to play the field, not be tied down by any one woman or thing. Hey. Your character's now a ladies' man. I made that up for you.
No, he's not. No. Nope.
So you're all sitting in your various respective locations. The bartender is behind the bar, and a gentleman walks in. He's roughly, average height, 5'9". Looks to be roughly human, dark hair, sort of mysterious. He's wearing a big hide coat. He doesn't look like he's particularly wealthy or opulent or anything like that, but he does sort of have a bit of a swagger to him, and he goes and he sits down at the bar, sort of one seat over from Da'ani, and the bartender comes over and says, "What are you going to have?" And he says, "I'll just have a fire water." And so the bartender sets him down a drink.
I silently observe all of this.
I am blissfully unaware.
How do you react to Ani?
I just kind of shuffle my cards together and start dealing out my solitaire game.
The guy looks over and he says, "Oh, you play cards?"
A little bit. Are you interested in playing?
He says, I don't gamble. Where does a guy like you come from? What brings you to Haverton?
Well, I decided to leave my previous job and start looking for some adventuring gigs. You happen to be an employer?
Not myself. I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I tend to drift. Like hearing stories. I'm a collector of stories, you might say.
What kind of stories are you looking for?
Oh, just people's lives, figuring out how people around here tick. I'm from out of town, up north a little bit. Just gonna be passing through, and with that he takes the fire water that the bartender gave him, and he takes a sip, and he sets it back down, and he sort of turns around on his bar stool and leans back and puts his elbows up on the bar. And he starts loosening his collar a little bit around the sort of fur coat. He says, "Oh, it's pretty hot in here. Think they wouldn't have the fire going so bright, this time of year in the summer." But you guys look over and the fireplace is entirely empty.
Are you okay? You seem a little a little temperature sensitive. Are you?
No, it's fine. It's fine. He sort of takes off his hide coat, and he's got sort of just a shirt, and it's sort of got like the baggy sleeves. Oh, won't be needing this in here. And you can see he's starting to turn like a little bit red, like around his neck, and he's visibly sweating.
I stand up and stoke the fire. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. That's not a thing.
What? How cold is it where you're from up north?
It's not really that cold. I don't know. I'm not feeling well. And he sort of turns around to the bartender. He's like, "Can I get a water here?" The bartender says, "Yeah, one second." The bartender sort of goes around to the sink and gets out a glass and starts polishing. He's like, "Oh, I could really use it now." And he runs over to the big table where there's a couple people sitting, and he grabs one of the drinks off the table and he just pours it on himself. He's really starting to make a scene here. And as he turns around, you could see that his skin is starting to blister around the edges. And he's like, "What? Why is it so hot in here? Why are you doing this? Who's doing this? Who's doing this to me?" And as everybody in the bar is sort of paying attention. Everybody at the table, everybody from the smaller room is seeing this man making this big scene. And now he's sort of shouting and yelling in pain, and you can see that his skin is sort of turning this pinkish gray shade, and it's almost like his face is changing.
I mean, I know it's early, but can I like draw my sword?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm like standing up and drawing my sword. I'm ready to like. It's not like I've seen this before, but I have a feeling he's either undergoing a transformation, and I'm preparing myself. And worst case scenario, he's just gonna be writhing in pain and not turn into anything. But like, I'm at least getting ready.
I get off the stool and I grab him by the scruff of his shirt and start pulling him towards the door of the bar.
What? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Somebody needs to get me help. I need. And he starts like his throat starts closing up almost. It's like he's having a really bad allergic reaction, and his skin is sort of not like sizzling, but sort of like bubbling almost, and he's like mutating a little bit, and you could see like his fingernails are growing out much quicker than any person's fingernails should probably grow, and he's sweating just bullets.
That's some bad firewater.
Yeah, the bartender says, "This wasn't me. I did not do it. This is I have nothing to do with this."
I'll have what she said.
And so, sort of as you start to grab him, around the neck, inspecting him and bringing him towards the door, he sort of just goes limp.
Oh boy, I'm gonna use an Arcana check on him.
All right, roll me a d20.
What the hell's going on with him? All right, this might be loud. 10.
You sense that there's something, but whatever it is that you're sensing is sort of starting to go away.
I'm gonna just approach this situation and put my blade on the neck of the limp creature. Like the tip of my blade. Actually, I don't have a blade. My blade is a sickle, so I guess it's like, I'm just getting ready. It's like, you wake up, you're toast, man. But I do this silently. I don't say a word.
The bartender rushes over from behind the bar. And he says, "Nobody touch any drinks." And he gets down next to this guy, and the guy's skin has sort of stopped bubbling, and he looks like this horrible orc-like creature. He's very hot to the touch, and the bartender sort of feels his neck, like looking for a pulse, and feels his hand, his wrist, and there's no signs of life. He's dead.
I look up at he's dead.
He's dead.
Certainly, because I was still gonna say we might want to bind his hands.
And the bartender looks at you with just a look of horror. It's like, my insurance is going to go through the roof. This is bad for business. Nobody say anything about this.
Who's he looking at? Me or AJ? Or me?
Everybody.
Oh, okay.
He's just sort of yelling at the room. I don't want to see any bad Yelp reviews because of this. I didn't do anything. Fantasy Yelp.
I would be more concerned with what the hell is going on with your drinks that it's causing people to die.
Well, transform.
From outside the tavern, you hear sort of a muted scream, like it's coming from down the block a little bit.
I'd go out the door of the bar. I rush outside.
Oh, while everyone's outside, I'm gonna fill up one of my empty flasks with whatever that guy was drinking, just in case, because you never know.
I agree. But no, I'm heading outside too myself, just not saying anything, just silently observing.
Also, maybe some of the more expensive wine that I could.
Everything was boxed there. The entire place was just selling boxed wine.
Ku-Ruk, you try and pour one of the expensive bottles of wine at the flask, but there's a lot more wine than flask, and so you try and like shove the cork back in, but it doesn't go in all the way, and so it's really obvious that the bottle was uncorked.
It's like half in there, like sideways, like.
Yeah, it's just all like crooked and sort of bent, like it was forced. But so, Da'ani and Laryn, you guys go outside, and the tavern is on the corner of an intersection, and you can see to your left, probably 400 feet down the street, there's a woman, and she's dressed in sort of a leather jacket, sort of what you'd expect for, springtime, and a similar thing is happening, and she's screaming in pain and writhing, and her skin is, doing the same sort of thing where it's bubbling.
I think we've been living amongst imposters. Like, this is a mental thought. Like, and they're finally just coming to light. These are the people that have something shady about them, and something just triggered them to reveal who they really are. But that's just me thinking to myself, not out loud.
I just stands there for a few seconds at everything that's going on. You okay, buddy? You had deep thought there?
I start running down the street towards her, and I have my left arm behind my back, sort of pulling in magical energy. And as I approach her, I slam my hand into her chest and use Dragon Frost.
Okay. As you're doing this, she's screaming in pain, and she's just she's already sort of at the end, right? Like she's already very badly wounded by whatever's happening to her. What does Dragon Frost normally do? Is that just an attack?
It's a gust of frost, and it hammers your foe and knocks them back. But it's cold.
Why don't you roll me a d20?
Okay.
Nat 20. She flies against a wall, gets a concussion, and dies from that instead.
Let me see, what is this? It's versus fortitude. Oof, 1.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god. First episode.
Donnie just blows on her gently.
So, you...
I don't know if that might be a good thing in this case, because it misses, but...
Well, you cast Dragon Frost, and you get some frostbite on your hand goes numb. And it's sort of like when you wake up when you're sleeping, and you're sleeping on your elbow the wrong way, and you like can't move your arm, it's just all floppy. But
is my hand physically cold?
Yeah, it's like you froze your hand and it just sort of went numb.
I placed my frozen hand like on her neck, like on the side of her neck.
She looks at you and her eyes are super wide, and
understandable. A strange man is touching her.
She's you have to like lean in real close, and she's saying, this was never supposed to happen. It was supposed to take longer. We were supposed to have time. And with that, she goes unconscious. And the same thing happens as with the other guy from inside of the tavern. She sort of goes limp, and her skin sort of stops bubbling, and she's dead.
Can I use Detect Magic again?
Sure. Roll me a d20.
Has a 19 sound.
You cast Detect Magic, and
realize she's dead.
There's definitely something there, but again, you could tell that it's evaporating, and you can tell that whatever that sort of magic is very unfamiliar to you. You've never seen it before, but you can tell that it is a very powerful illusion spell, and you can tell that it's not a type of magic that is from anywhere that you've ever been in Kiln Rock.
I place her gently on the ground. Just let her lay down. Basically, just let her rest onto the ground.
So as you're doing this, a crowd is starting to gather around this area. It's sort of at the entrance to like a little market section. There's a bunch of small tents and stands and things, and it's about 100 feet away, and the people all start sort of coming over and forming like a big circle around. And there's an older man, an older gentleman. He looks to be much older than you would expect an old man to be. He looks half human. Maybe you can't really discern what his ethnicity or race is. But he's definitely not 100% human, and he definitely looks very, very old. And he sort of walks out from the circle of people, and he kneels down on one knee next to this woman and starts inspecting her.
I'm imagining for this character, it's like a mix between Gandhi and Rafiki.
He's sort of like Gandhi. He's got gray hair. He doesn't look scrappy. He's very well groomed. He's got sort of his beard not braided but like tied up. He's got some wire rim glasses, and he looks like the kind of guy that you'd see on like a fishing boat on the Discovery Channel late at night. He mumbles to himself and he says, "What are you doing here on this side of the barrier?" And he rolls the body over, and he looks up at Donnie and he says, "Son, do you have a blade?"
Yeah, I pull out my dagger.
May I borrow it?
Sure.
So he takes the dagger and he uses it to sort of shave the back of the woman's head just above the neck. And there's a very small tattoo, or maybe not a tattoo, but some sort of small marking
insignia
that's in the skin.
It's a rune.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and he says, "I'll be damned, it is." And he hands the dagger back to you. "Thank you, son."
What's it mean?
What the fuck was that?
That's how my character's gonna talk.
It's his first
Time speaking.
character voice.
Yeah, are we actually doing that or no?
Yes.
Well, I'm like trying to like sort of have like a little bit, but not as much as I wanted.
Not as much as Doug. Okay. And so the old man says, "I haven't seen one of these in a very long time. This is... She shouldn't have been here. I don't even know if it's a she. She was in disguise."
We need to talk in a more private place.
"Where do you suggest?"
Your house.
Are you coming on to me? What's going on here?
How forward?
Potentially.
Why don't we go to my tent in the market, and we'll take care of this from there. And he stands up and he says, "Jedediah, get these bodies taken care of." And you could see a man, sort of middle-aged, comes over. He says, "Will do, sir. Bring it right down to the graveyard and have it prepared." You sort of get the impression that this guy is like a grave digger or like a fantasy mortician of sorts, and he sort of signals people to bring a cart, and they start loading up the body. And the older gentleman beckons you over to this dark blue tent that's sort of covered on all sides, completely nondescript. It's in among sort of the other tents and stalls and things of the market. And he leads you in and sort of holds the opening for you as you walk inside. It sort of looks like, if you remember back to Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, there are those tents that the fortune tellers are in. It sort of looks like a fortune teller tent. So who follows him in?
I certainly do.
I'm still at the tavern door drinking. It's like, what's going on over there?
Okay.
So am I the only person following him? Donnie, are you not?
I do so slowly, just like sort of observing. As I go, I should have mentioned this when I use detect magic, my eyes flare like a bright green. So like you just see me flashing, like
How
flashing my
inappropriate.
eyes towards the crowd.
Flashing your eyes.
Does the
Just, like,
detect
shooting
magic
glances.
Does the detect magic persist for a certain amount of time?
No, I'll probably have to make some sort of checks, I assume, or like a general check for like as I'm walking.
Okay.
All right, I'm doing quick.
I feel like he's a kid who just got a new toy and he's just playing with it all the time.
How's a 23?
Ooh.
23 is good. You sort of look out over the crowd, and you sort of scan, and other than what you would expect to see among a crowd of people, there's no magic. There's somebody with like a magical watch or something, but you don't. There's nothing. There's no like big blips that would otherwise draw your attention.
Okay.
However, as you look towards the tent, you could see sort of a faint glow around the tent. It's not a big glow, and it doesn't look like there's anything dangerous. And it looks like sort of a concealing spell or something that would protect the tent in some way.
It's good to see you're taking precautions.
You can never be too careful around these parts.
What's your name, Elder?
Reminds me of I was gonna say it reminds me of the merchant from Resident Evil.
I'll buy it at a high price.
I guess that's what we have to model this around, but alright.
What are you selling?
That's exactly what I thought of.
Got good things on sale, stranger.
God damn it. It's not what I intended at all, but I'm going with it.
That's what it is now.
You're stuck with
Yeah.
it now. God, I haven't come up with a name for this guy.
I know, that's why I asked.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google.
Oh, just get one of our Twitter followers.
We
I
don't
know.
have any Twitter followers.
My name is Press Continue. Last name Podcast.
My name is Krulaman.
Cruelman.
With a U, not an O. And he sort of beckons you, and the two of you, he sort of beckons you in and shuts the opening of the tent. And you notice that as you walk in and he sort of closes the opening of the tent behind you, the flap that you entered through sort of disappears. It sort of like becomes just a solid piece of cloth, or at least that's what it looks like. And inside of the tent, you look around, and it's sort of unusual because it's in a market, but there's a small cot, and there's a card table, and around the card table there's a few sort of makeshift stools. Like one of them is like a piece of wood that's been cut into sort of a little stump. He pulls out a flask from his pocket and says, you all came out of the tavern, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still thirsty?
Always.
I'm pretty sated.
All right. He pours He pulls out a little wooden shot glass from under the card table, and he pours from the flask for Laryn, and he pulls out another one. He pours one for himself and puts the flask away.
You're like super into wood, yeah?
Like me as the DM, or me as Krulaman?
Krulaman.
It's what's available.
I mean, I'm sure it's pretty. I mean, you can work it with magic, so.
And a knife, trying to be economical here.
I think the real matter at hand is what the fuck is going on.
Well, I think first introductions are in order. I am Krulaman. I don't believe I caught either of your names.
My name's Henry.
Henry.
Yes.
Welcome to my humble abode, Henry. And with that, he takes a not he doesn't down the shot, but he takes a pretty decent sip from his glass, wood and glass, his cup.
Yeah, I down it just to one up him.
You notice that it's not particularly strong, but it's got an intense flavor. It's sort of spicy, and you've never tasted anything quite like it.
Enjoyable?
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable in sort of a weird way, like the first time you've had coffee.
Okay.
So he says, I haven't seen one of those in a very long time. I was only 10 or 11, I'd say.
What was it exactly?
That, my friend, is one of the crag.
So, like, an orc.
Well,
a frost orc.
Not quite an orc. It's sort of a distant relative of an orc. As you know, the war ended 100 years ago. And after the war ended, nobody saw any of the crag ever again. The crag simply disappeared across the barrier, and of course we have no way of contacting them, and they have no way of contacting us.
Well, apparently we've been wrong, because they've been living amongst our own people for the longest time.
Apparently we were wrong. Apparently they have some way of getting across the barrier that we don't know about. But of course, there is only one way to cross it, and that way is fairly secure.
What would that be?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
Well, this is the Ku-Ruk province, and to the east is the Silverstone province. You need to take the Ku-Ruk and the Silverstone and combine them, and it forms an amulet that allows you to penetrate the barrier.
I see.
But of course, if the amulet was reunited into one piece, we would be very much aware.
Would it, like, signal someone? Like, would it just, like, let us know? Like, how would it
all
make
manner
us
of
aware?
chaos and just all manner of evil would descend upon us from the north. The cold would begin creeping out yet again. I can only imagine. I can't imagine that the crag would be very pleased that the barrier had been broken. And of course, if they had been the ones to break it, then they would be trespassing on our land, and they would have some probably nefarious reason for doing so.
Yeah, I guess my next question would be, are they still holding a grudge? Do you think they're enemies?
Well, I mean, it seems like the wall is kind of to keep us out from up there as well. Like, it's a mutual sort of wall.
Yes, of course.
It's not... If anything, maybe they just want more interaction between us.
Why can't we all be just friends, guys? But no, seriously, I think... Why are they dying is the real question. They come back and it's like, oh, here's my real self, but now I'm dead, and I can't ask them any questions.
Well, the obvious reason why they're dying is that it's too warm for them. They can't deal with the temperature of being on this continent.
Are there any towns northern of here where they might have made the transformation but not have actually died?
Directly north of here is the barrier. There's not much in between. There's a smattering of small, unnotable villages, but there's nothing that I would expect them to have invaded without causing a ruckus.
I'm worried someone's selling them like the equivalent of like a glimmer, like something that disguises them just so they can like sort of blend in with
Polyjuice potion.
That's what I'm worried about.
Here's the interesting question, my friends. I've known that woman. I've seen her here in the market for many years. She's been coming here peacefully for a very long time. She had a child. Lives not too far from here in a small ranch. Why all of a sudden would she be revealed? What exactly happened?
Well, it would seem that the spell or whatever was holding her in like a sort of human or what we never established what race they were. Were they human?
They were human-like. It was sort of difficult to tell their race. It was sort of
they were
weird,
racially androgynous.
Yeah, it was sort of this weird blend of multiple different races. That, like you couldn't tell off the bat. Like when you see a person from the UK, you can't really tell if they're Welsh or Irish or Scottish. Based on like a single sentence, you oftentimes need to hear them talk for a few minutes before you can really nail down what their accent is. It's like that, but with just race and ethnicity.
They had bits of everything. So
yeah,
right.
So she
it's sort of cobbled together.
They look like Rashida Jones.
Meanwhile, at Jeremy O'Dubb's tavern, hey, who the hell opened this expensive bottle of wine?
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the tavern, the bartender, he's been sort of looking at this woman and like inspecting her, and he's saying, "Hey, you over there, you had some firewater earlier. You're fine, right? Yeah." And sort of at the same time that everybody leaves and is following towards this screaming, he sort of looks outside and sort of steps out and goes and joins the circle. And a lot of the other people in the bar, hearing all of the commotion, start to go out into the street.
I don't go out. I don't exit the tavern. I'm still in there to have my mug in my hand and just sipping, just watching everything.
All right.
All
right, we'll do that.
I'm not the gung-ho kind of guy. I like to... If it doesn't involve me directly, I'll just sit back and watch.
So you, from your vantage point, and now that sort of the streets are clear of all people, right? Like everybody's all grouped around this body, and you're watching for a little bit, and you see someone with a cart start to wheel another body away down the street, sort of towards you. They're coming from the left, and they're going past the front of the tavern, and you can see there's another body that looks just like the one in the tavern.
I stop the guy and just go, "There's another one in here. You want two?"
Another one?
Apparently.
What do you mean another one?
There's
like this horrible, misformed, poor woman?
Well, not like a woman. Like, it's kind of like... But like Duty. Like... Not Duty. Dude-esque.
You pooped? There's Duty on the floor?
There's poop in it. I had an accident.
I don't deal with the corpses that have pooped. You're going to have to come back like when Jim is on duty. He does the poopy ones.
Oh, he's Duty?
Yeah, he does the duty.
There's like a male version of this. It might be male. It's all
I see.
burnty and like melty. I'm not sure what it is, but
I'll grab it. So he sort of brings the cart up to the front of the bar, and he steps inside and he's like, oh yeah, look at that, happened here too.
Right? That's what I said. Just exactly what I said. Nothing else happens.
He says, so am I gonna have to come back here and get rid of like a wagon or something? Did this one bring anything?
Not that I'm aware of. The clothes on his back that are goopy.
What?
Oh no!
I beg your pardon.
It's just like he was bubbling, so I don't know if he's like oozing or what came out of him, but it's all in there.
He's kind of like shiny, but it doesn't look like he's covered in like a film or anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you'd expect sort of like scarred, burnt skin to look like, but that's been healed, right? Like a.
So it's like, okay, I gotcha. So
yeah,
he looks like Deadpool.
Glossy.
Sort of like Deadpool, yeah.
Gotcha.
Like a topographical map of Utah.
Fucking avocado.
An older avocado fucking younger avocado.
Yeah, so this guy says, so you're sure he didn't... How did he get here then? Where...
He walked.
Are you sure?
I mean, I saw him walk in, then sit down, and then...
I mean, normally people that drive also walk into the building. They don't park in the building.
I'm not saying I've been stalking this guy for the last 30 years. I'm saying he walks in, sits down. That's as much as I know.
All right. The guy says, all right, well, I'll load him up and I'll take him off. So now he picks up the body, throws it on the cart, and he heads off down the street and around the corner. And he's disappeared from view. And now you're alone.
Back to the drink.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I mean, let me just get this clear, because after Sick Rhymes, he's not an alcoholic. He just... That's what he was doing already. So I know we're in a bar, and it's already setting a bad tone for me that I'm hanging back with all the booze.
So, meanwhile in the tent, the Crewleman says to you guys, so what were you guys doing before you came out here?
Well, before I started looking for quests and the like, I was actually in a traveling circus for a while.
That's interesting. What kind of tricks did you do in the circus?
I don't know. I did a little bit of everything. Sort of a jack of all trades. I did some tightrope stuff. I did
some bearded lady.
Not
I was
necessarily
kidding.
That. But
you'd make a good bearded lady. I don't know where this voice is coming from. It's just drifting. The accent is drifting.
I did a little like flaming dagger toss, just some showman type things. I was also the caller out front.
What about you, Henry?
I'm just on the road as a traveling journeyman.
A journeyman.
A journeyman.
I meant though. What were you guys doing before you ran out into the street? Where were you? What happened before the woman?
I was just minding my own business over a pipe, and then this guy starts pulling at his collar and melting.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy.
I thought he was on some kind of crazy drugs, and it just turns out he's a goddamn Cragsman.
You okay, by the way? Your voice is like a little bit crackly.
He's hitting me. He's hitting me as Froggy from not Rugrats. Wow,
Little Rascals.
Frog, the Little Rascals.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The He-Man Woman Haters Club.
God damn it!
That's actually more of a.
This is just proving I can't make an original voice, so you guys are just gonna have to deal with whatever the hell this is.
No, that's good. That's good stuff.
I forget the question.
I was just drinking some hooch. Just having some liqueur at the bar.
You said there was
and playing with some.
You said there was another a man that started having the same thing happen to him.
Yeah, he came in and started asking me questions about like stories and stuff, and then we were talking about the 100 year anniversary, the centennial.
Why would one of the Crag want to know something like that? What would one of the Crag need to know about things here for?
It's not that hard to piece together, if you ask me, that the people who melted into Cragsman are...
You need a glass of water?
Potentially. Wait, they are the eyes and ears for the Cragsmen. And it's like they accidentally goofed up, and now they're apparently... Everyone... They done goofed.
To me, this sounds more like they're almost... The woman, she said something before she died. She said that they should have had, like, more time, that this was happening too soon.
More time?
I'm assuming it was something, maybe they're paying to live among us to, like... I don't know, maybe there are people who were dissatisfied with their lives in the Crag and wanted to live with the other races.
Or they expected their spell to last longer.
Definitely. I think that's more or less what they were going for.
Interesting. So the question is, what were they doing here?
Gathering intel.
We should go inspect the other body and search it to see if there was anything useful.
And also, maybe find the son of the lady. Right?
I mean, we should probably be examined to see if he is taken on Crag-like traits.
Yeah, I bet he's all hot and bothered already.
I mean, if
Jesus Christ.
I sort of pinched
inspecting the body
the bridge of my nose. And just sort of like...
Inspecting the body is priority number one, because if somebody were to get to it before us, then there's no telling what we might lose, what clues we might lose about it.
Yeah, wait, we don't know this, but whoops. All right.
Krulaman sort of does like a little weird thing with his hand up against the tent, the edge of the tent. It's not the same edge of the tent that you came in, and it's not really towards the center, and he sort of parts it, and he opens the tent back up, and you're not facing a different direction, even though it's a different direction on the side of the tent. You're just sort of facing the same opening, which is weird, but
it's a TARDIS. He's a Time Lord.
He sort of holds out his hand and sort of ushers you out, and you look behind you at the tent, and it's incredibly nondescript. It sort of looks like it's a part of sort of the tents next to it, like a little annex or like a little lean-to almost. It's extremely nondescript, and you could sort of tell that whatever magic is on it, it's not a particularly powerful spell, but it sort of makes the tent blend in with the other tents and makes it very, very nondescript. And Krulaman says, you guys lead the way.
All right, I instinctively take the lead.
So as you're walking back, the crowd has started to disperse because the guy took the body away, and you step into the bar. The bar is completely empty except for Ku-Ruk, who is now sitting at the bar, and he's got 2 bottles of very expensive wine, one in each hand, and he's sort of taking turns sipping from each one, and by sipping I mean sort of glugging from each of them.
Not an alcoholic.
Yes, you are. Hey, where the hell those bodies go?
I don't know. The little guy took them.
Who the fuck's the little guy?
The little guy that took the other one took this one.
Take me to the little guy.
Wasn't he your little guy?
Which way did he go?
Was he sort of short and had brown hair and was trying to grow goatee, but you could tell that it was coming in?
Yeah, it looked like he was a 13-year-old.
Yeah, he's 27. What direction did he head off to? Did he head off that way?
Yeah, that way.
Points sort of down the street. All right, we have to go find out what belongings that body had on it, because it might lead to some clues as to why he was here and what exactly happened to him.
Yeah,
Wait, his jacket. Wait. He had his coat that he took it off, right?
Yeah, the coat is on a bar stool next to Ku-Ruk.
I grabbed the coat.
Oh, I thought I was saving that seat for somebody. My mistake.
Did you know him?
No, I assumed it was just a coat, and it's just somebody wanted the seat. And I figured they liked me, so they wanted it next to me.
No, I mean, like, he took it off when he was having his little panic attack about melting.
it would have been next to.
We're just gonna, like, I look through the jacket.
In the the front pockets are empty, but in the left side on the inner pocket, there's a small pouch with 5 gold, and on the right side on the inner pouch, there's sort of a fake pocket. It's very obvious. But you sort of reach in and like fiddle with it a little bit, and there's a small black cube, and it looks almost like it's made out of some sort of obsidian.
I give the cube to Krillomon.
I've never seen one of these before. I don't know what I'm looking at. And he puts it away in his pocket. You can keep the gold, or I can keep the gold. It's up to you.
I put the gold on the counter, and I look at Ku, and I go, maybe a little bit of compensation for the drink that you're having right now.
I grab the gold and say, "Finders keepers."
You actually weren't the finder.
Problem solved.
All right, it's yours.
No, I was just gonna leave it on the bar.
That's what I mean. If he's just gonna leave it, I might as well just like, yep. But no, it's okay. I don't need it. It's 5 gold. That was my inner gray beard. Sorry.
Mr. Moneybags over here.
People forget Greybeard was just an advanced form of Doug.
Oh God. I hope I don't get there.
A future form of Doug.
So, Krillman says, "We've got to get down to the graveyard before he puts those 2 under, and find out if there is anything left on the body." All right.
Okay.
All right.
After the baby face.
Are you coming, thirsty one? I didn't catch your name.
Lademan.
Lademan.
Oh yeah! Sorry.
There it was.
It's a nervous twitch.
I'm going to just need a second to fix my eardrums, and then we can get going. And he sort of like makes that movement with his jaw where you're like trying to pop your ears in a car.
When someone closes the windows.
Yeah, somebody closed the windows and you're like driving uphill. And so he's like, "All right, time to go. Mr. Ku, you're welcome to join."
Well, if I stay here, I'll have to pay, so might as well.
All right, and Krillman leads you all down the street to the west.
As we're leaving, I just like toss like 10 gold on the counter.
As we're leaving, I grab an expensive bottle of wine. No, I'm kidding.
That's fair. Make sure you update your character sheet.
Oh, okay.
And so you guys walk down the street and sort of round the corner, and you come to a modestly sized graveyard. It's not particularly well kept, but you can tell that it's maintained. And sort of off to the side, there's a little shack, which you'd expect there to be maintenance equipment and things like that to sort of help maintain the graveyard, like various gardening tools and shovels and things. And outside of it is the guy that you saw earlier. His name is Pangion. And Krulaman says, Pangion, wait, don't do anything else. And Pangion says, oh, what now? And Krulaman walks over and he goes up to the female crag, and he sort of pats down her pockets gently out of respect. In one of the pockets, he feels something, and he reaches in, and there's a small white, almost quartz-looking cube. And he says, "Oh, this is very interesting. I've never seen one of these before. This is the first time I've ever encountered something like this." And he says, "What do you make of it?" And he hands it to Da'ani.
I guess I'm going to do an Arcana check, aren't I?
All right.
How's a 21 sound?
21 is great.
It sounds like...
So, what hand did you cast the Dragon Frost with?
My left hand.
So you pick it up, and you're holding it in your right hand, and you're turning it over. And when you touch it with your left hand, it sort of glows blue in the spots where your fingerprints were. And it sort of fades out, sort of like when you have a sunburn and you touch your skin, and then you let go, and there's like the imprint of your fingers in like normal skin color, and then it turns red. The cube itself is not magical, but when you touch it, it seems to absorb the magic from your fingertips, just like the sort of ambient, almost ephemeral sort of magic.
Left hands are magic. I knew it.
I cast Dragon Frost on the cube.
All right, roll me a d20.
I kind of place it on the ground and slam my left fist and left hand into it.
Take a step back.
Let's see. How's a 14?
So you do that, and there's frost everywhere, and some of the like little puddles on the ground and like moist spots just immediately frost over. When you do that, the cube sort of glows a bright blue very, very briefly, and you notice that when you do it, the woman on the cart, sort of, her skin sort of starts to fade almost back to her semi-human form. But then as the glow on the cube dies down and fades over the course of a few seconds, it goes back to her dead, lifeless state.
It looks like we've ran into one of these cubes, but it was black, and I have a feeling they correspond with how they look. It's something to do with the magic spell that makes them look like us as compared to Crag's people.
That might be it. It may be the source of their illusion, or their ability to live among us.
Well, so far we found a cube on each one of these people. I'm thinking it has something to do with that, but what's the difference between a black and a white one?
Black cubes matter.
Fucking A. And the end of that episode.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. That was episode 1 of season 2 of Vamos Better Than Dragons. We've had a really great time, took a little bit of a break, got ourselves back together, and we've got a whole backlog ready to come straight to your ear holes. I'd like to take this time to thank our hosts, AJ, Bren, Doug, and myself. Artwork for this episode was produced by Ian McAfee. The theme music was composed and assembled by everybody's best friend, Josh Stitt. Our distribution is handled entirely by the fine podcast software at pinecast.com. If you have a moment, please take some time to go and rate and review us on iTunes. It really does help. You can leave us feedback by clicking the link in the episode description, or by visiting us on the web at abtd.pinecast.co. Our next episode is going to be out in 2 weeks. Please stay tuned, and we hope you enjoyed it.